security project, sponsored project, is conceived as supporting the government attain its stated goals in poverty reduction and eradicate hunger. Ibrahim Jata has more.
Development project being launched by the Gambia government under the Ministry of Agriculture. It's a design to reduce rural household poverty, engaging young people and women to make efficient use of arable water resources for agricultural production and productivity. The $28 million Global Agriculture Food Security Sponsored Scheme is set to be implemented mainly in the West Coast, Lower and Central River regions.
The primary development goal of the first step is to reduce rural household poverty, food insecurity and malnutrition through increased agricultural production and productivity and commercialization.
Carved out to support government to realize its food security goals, the initiative is bent on reducing poverty and hunger, forming part of the aims targeted in MDG 1. Officials also hope to reduce rice imports valued at $40 million each year, a turnout which could scale up support, engaging farmers to greater productivity.
The key performance indicators of the first step have been outlined in the results-based logical framework, and these, I'm told, will include food security for 240,000 of the target population, of which 150,000 are women.
Amid the ongoing World Food Education Program in the rural areas, the project is also targeting 3,350 pre-primary school children in 101 schools in these three regions via a feeding program with cereals ensuring proper nutrition.
Despite these challenges, the fisheries subsector has great potential for contributing to the national socio-economic development, providing sources of income, employment, including the youth and women, foreign exchange earnings, and has been identified by government as key sector for increasing investment. The objectives of the Fisheries Policy 2009-2013 includes promoting the increase of the fish supplies by at least 30% of present level to meet food fish security needs of the country, particularly the vulnerable populations, linking artisanal fisheries to markets to realize increased income and employment and take advantage of the investment opportunities.
Ladies and gentlemen, eradicating extreme poverty and hunger is the first Millennium Development Goal for a genuine reason. None of the other MDGs can be met without food security and economic development. And indeed, because 75% of the poor in developing countries live in rural areas, strengthening the agriculture sector can not only improve access to nutritious food, but also makes an important contribution to reducing rural poverty.
It may not end food insecurity in the country, but this giant design could drastically put hunger at bay, raising farmer capacity and productivity. Ibrahim Jata, Grts.
The Gambia Radio and Television Services Thursday morning received 15 fire extinguishers from a company called Fire Protect Gambia Limited. Rohi Bitei of our newsroom has more on that presentation.
To National Development, Fire Protect Gambia Limited donated 15 fire extinguishers to the Gambia Radio and Television Services. The fire extinguishers are meant to safeguard staff and equipment at both arms of Grts. Fire Protect Gambia Limited is a new company with young people at its helm. The move taken by the young company is in recognition of the significant role Grts play in entertaining and informing both its local and international audience. Alhaji Modu Diouf, Senior Administrative Manager at Grts Radio, spoke of the national broadcaster's social responsibility of serving all. As such, he called on others to complement government efforts.
Government cannot do it alone, and by extension, our arms are open, our minds are open, our eyes are open. In short, we are open to everybody because it's a national institution. We may come and go, as I always say, DG. Perhaps we are the lucky few to be employees of this great institution, but we will go and leave legacies of which people have to inherit for posterity. So therefore, if your company or your institution decides to come forward and actually make this great donation. I'm sure if we are to value it, it will be to the tunes of thousands of dollars.
Babukar Keta of Fire Protect Gambia Limited described the gesture as minimal but significant for the protection of the institution. According to him, this donation is part of their contribution to national development.
We are all Gambians, we all have to contribute immensely to the development of the country. So since these things, they will provide they will protect fire, and also, you know, because we know here the equipment that are here, they're very expensive. So this is what we do, we protect fire. This is the little I can do. I can also come and donate these 15 fire extinguishers to GRTS.
The Director General of GRTS, Alhaji Lamin Manga, was thrilled by the gesture for the fact that it came from a young business entity and young Gambians in particular. He, however, appealed to others to support Fire Protect Gambia Limited for its relevance in safeguarding not only offices but homes.
GRTS, as all my colleagues have alluded to, is not only a television. You know, we also have the radio network. As far as Basse, we have a lot of substations, and a lot of my colleagues talked about equipment, but we're also talking about lives. You know, when you talk about fire and extinguishing fire, you're talking about people that work in the various places. So we can only encourage you and use this platform as well to encourage other institutions to look into doing business with an institution like you.
Other speakers included the Deputy Director General of GRTS, Abdul Toure, GRTS Head of Administration, Yankuba Jata, Senior Manager TV Programs, Fatou Sane Sise, and Usman Dabo of Fire Protect Gambia Limited, who all echoed similar sentiments. Fire extinguishers are known for their capacity of putting out fires. A donation of such will only help safeguard the national television and radio. Rohi Bite, GRTS News.
That report by Rohi Bite takes us to our first break. We'll be back with news from outside the Gambia. A new major push to end the conflict in Syria is about to begin in Geneva. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov are set to hold talks on a plan proposed by Moscow to put Syria's chemical weapons under international control. The U.S. says it wants to test the seriousness of the Russian plan, while Russia, for its part, hopes it would help avoid a military strike on Syria by the U.S. More in this report by DWTV.
The US says John Kerry's main task is to see how serious the Russians are about plans to dispose of Syria's chemical weapons. Sergei Lavrov is coming to the talks with 4 key proposals. First, that Syria should join the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, that it should then disclose the location of its chemical weapons arsenals, allow international inspectors in to examine the weapons, and then hand over those weapons for destruction. But can a deal be struck? And will they find answers to some of the most pressing issues? First and foremost, can the plan be put into action in the midst of Syria's civil war? The White House says there'll be no quick solutions.
So I expect that this will take some time. But we also are not interested in delaying tactics, and we believe it's very important to hold Assad accountable.
Meanwhile, Russia's President Vladimir Putin has made a direct appeal to the American people. In an opinion article in the New York Times, he warns that a US military strike against Syria could increase violence and unleash a new wave of terrorism. Putin also said that if the discussions in Geneva succeed, they could open the door to cooperation on other foreign policy issues.
Now, here is a very interesting question for you. What do a skateboarding goat, a vacuum collector, and a contortionist have in common? And the answer you'll have all on the spot in the 2014 Guinness World Book of Records. CNN's Ted Kennedy shows us more on that eccentric title holders in this interesting piece.
From the largest to the smallest to the just plain twisted, The new 2014 Guinness World Records book